I am very tiny and very short. I'm a little person, okay? However, I have so much power in my spirit, right? I consider myself to have thick skin. Going through a situation like that made my skin even thicker. So when I tell you whooping ass means standing your ground and protecting your territory, i.e. yourself, your spirits, your mind, that's what self-care is, right?
You're listening to Sean Henry's Becoming, a podcast that focuses on the emotional journey of an entrepreneur from the thought of their business to the execution and beyond. I am your host, Sean Henry, a serial entrepreneur, speaker, real estate investor, landlord, 21-year retired Army veteran, and author of When the Bank Says No. I'm sitting down with entrepreneurs to talk about their processes and the lessons they've learned along the way. Fasten your seatbelts. The journey is rough, but rewarding.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Sean Henry's Becoming. We have a great guest for you today, Tiana Allen. And on her social media handle is Tiana the Teacher. So we are definitely going to get into this today and get all the jewels that she has to offer. Tiana, thank you for joining us today on Sean Henry's Becoming.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're really excited. So we're just going to jump right into it. We always start the conversation with getting a feel of where our guests are from. So where are you from, or where did you grow up?
Originally from Chicago.
Okay. I had a guest on recently from Illinois, not Chicago. So what brought you to the Atlanta area? That's where I met you.
That's a interesting story because it was all divine timing. And I guess that's enough said, right?
Okay, absolutely. All right, so do you have any siblings?
Yeah, so I'm a twin and I have two other older sisters, so there's all girls in the family.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's interesting, you being a twin and then a family of all girls. So how was that growing up?
Very competitive.
Are you and your twin sister, are you old? You said you're the younger of the four.
Yep, I'm the youngest twin of the twins, and we were the youngest of, the four.
Wow, so you're literally the youngest of four then.
Mm-hmm.
So you said it was very competitive. So how was that? What were you guys competitive in academics or athletics or
Everything.
just getting your okay. Tell us about it.
Females, with all that estrogen rolling in, it was interesting. We were very close knit growing up. We're all around the same age. So, we were called stair steppers, right? Each child is not that much older or younger than the next, right? So, very close knit. We shared everything. We're each other's friends. We had the same friends. Everything was alike. So if somebody got one thing that was different than the other, everybody else wanted it too. So that's what I call competitive.
Okay. So how did you separate yourself from the group to create your own identity?
Well, that's a whole nother podcast, Sean.
Can you give us a short version for those who may be going through this and trying to find their identity?
Yeah, sure. Especially as a twin. I mean, you literally are with another person since, birth. You incubated in the womb with one other person, and we're born with another person, and you don't have to share everything with another person, right? So as you get older, you start to figure out who you are individually. And of course, we're fraternal twins, so we don't look alike. And if for those who don't know, identical twins are the same egg that split into two, and fraternal twins are two separate eggs that just so happen to um, make it into the womb. So we're pretty much two different people that incubated at the same time, right? So growing up was a little challenging when it came to learning your own identity. So when you get older, you just kind of have that longing for it, or it just happens gradually. For me, it happened gradually. So um, you know
Okay.
moving away from Chicago, going to Atlanta by myself, that is, like I said, a whole nother podcast. That was a whole nother journey, and very interesting. um, Lots of emotion involved, and lots of growth as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so did you grow up in an entrepreneurial household?
Yeah, actually, when I look back on how I became an entrepreneur, it just literally like fell in my lap. That story is everything I have a lot of unique stories. Okay.
Well, that's going to
This is
lead for a very interesting interview.
Yes, this is why I became an author, and just started writing about things that happened to me on my journey, right? So when I started in entrepreneurship full time, I started looking back in retrospect of how I got these abilities, and I remember that growing up, my dad owned a record store. In the 70s, he he was a record store owner, and my mom was his employee spinning her little records. And he owned that record shop in the 70s and the 80s. And this is where literally I was conceived, me and my twin, in the back of the record shop. um, and that was his business. And then, when we were, coming of age, in the 80s and 90s, he had a TV repair shop. So he transitioned. So he was a double business owner. And I grew up watching him and, taking all of that on, but subconsciously not knowing that all of this knowledge base would be sitting in my spirit when I got older, and I would just naturally gravitate into, you know, being like my dad, basically.
Absolutely. Do you remember any lessons? Looking back, hindsight is always 2020. Do you remember anything, any lessons taught or learned, either that he did directly or just by you being in the record store or being in his repair shop? Um, that you use now.
Yeah. Actually, the record store came before me because that's where I was, I think, where we were conceived in
Hmm.
that store.
Mm.
After me came the TV repair shop. So I remember being there and seeing all of these, floor model, old school, TVs, and, everything that VCRs and all these electronics, right? That, people would come and give to him and sit at his shop, so they can get fixed. And he was like always at an overflow to the point where he was a one-man show, and he just took care of everything, but he wasn't able to really do it in a timely manner. So I look back on me now as a solopreneur, um, I totally understand and can relate what he went through.
Mm.
And these are some lessons that I take now in my company, and I take heed to how I hire, when I hire, and for what I hire for, right? So
Oh yeah.
these were lessons that I learned from my dad, but what not to do, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of times that we don't have to repeat some other people's stumbles, and we can use those lessons to be positive in our own lives and our own journey. And that's the basis of this podcast, so that people are able to say, okay, you know what, Sean did it this way, it didn't work out for her, let me try something else. Oh, I learned this from Tiana, so you know what, that worked out for her, so let me do it this way. So absolutely, definitely. So that was good that you were able to see that. I'm sure there were a lot of pros, like you said, he had the workflow, and sometimes small businesses are not prepared for the workload, the unexpected. We all hope to have, our doors overflowing, but sometimes we don't have the structure or the personnel to handle that increase. So that's definitely good that you were able to take that. So your current business, and I want to talk about, because you mentioned a book too that you were writing. So I want to talk about that too within our conversation. But your current business is the Wellness Sanctuary Inc. and Creatively Successful Consulting. So let's talk about the Wellness Sanctuary Inc. Can you tell us a little bit about that business?
Yeah, so the Wellness Sanctuary, I keep saying we. When I say
I
we, I
do that a
mean,
lot too. I do that a lot too. And you know what? Instinctively, it is a we, even though it is a I. You're not doing everything on your own. You may have to outsource. You may have to, just in conversation with other people, you've received ideas, but ultimately, it is you that's running this train. So it's okay. We is fine, but we understand it's I.
yeah, absolutely. But really, when I say we, I mean me and God, because
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
is all in my business, literally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, derived in Chicago, and man, did not know what the heck I wanted to do with my life. I didn't go back to college till I was in my 20s. So I felt like I was a late bloomer, when you see all of your classmates graduated and already in college or having their degrees, and you don't have yours, you feel like you're a late bloomer, right? Um, but now looking back in retrospect, that wasn't so bad that I went to college late, or wasn't even late in life, right? I went to college at just the right time. So, literally, when I say this wellness industry fell in my lap, it literally, like a brochure for massage school, fell in my lap.
Oh, wow.
Literally. Not knowing what the heck was that I was going to do. I was in my 20s, didn't, wasn't even thinking about anything in Chicago, pulled out a bunch of junk mail, and one little slip of a brochure literally fell in my lap. And I saw that and I got the it just tingles. I knew it was God speaking to me. And it was just, I don't know if you ever felt the Holy Spirit, it feel like you're glowing. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's exactly how I felt. And I said, this is something I need to do. And I rushed and called whatever number that was on the brochure. And I was like, how do I get in your school? I was like, I don't
But
know
you know
nothing
what?
about this.
Some people wouldn't even do that. So that was brave of you to even recognize. I don't know if you had been praying or saying, "Okay, God, show me, give me direction." I don't know if that was the case, or subliminally that's what you were putting out into the universe. But some people would be asking for something, and like you said, it literally fell in their lap, and they think, oh, well, this is too easy. This can't be it. But you acted on it. So that says something about you.
Yeah, well, that feeling that the Holy Spirit gave me was like I've never felt that before, right? And it was unique, it was different, it was real, it was tangible. And I was like, I can't do anything but to just adhere to this message, whatever this is, because this is something. Um, so that was December 23rd, or I'm sorry, December 22nd, 2003.
Oh wow.
And I
Okay.
count that date as the when everything began. This is when it all began. So I celebrate that anniversary every year. And
Oh,
because it means a lot to me, when God calls a thing, it is.
that's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You are so right.
Yeah, so that's a story with that. I walked into everything so blindly and just let, that feeling that I got lead the way. And that was 3 days before Christmas, mind you. And I'm calling this school talking about how can I get in? What's your application? And these
Right. And
people were like,
everybody's thinking about break.
yeah, these people are like, ma'am, we're closing in 2 days for the holiday break. We won't be open until January. I said, no, I got to get in. I don't know what this is, but I need to get in your school. What's the application? And they gave me the link to the website. Literally that day, I did it. I didn't have that much money in my bank account, but I think the application was like $25 or $50 or whatever. I paid all of that. Um, and just did it that same day. And I was like, okay, well, are you gonna let me know when when I'm approved? Am I gonna be approved? Oh yeah, Miss Allen, we'll notify you once we open again. I said, no, you gotta let me know. I was really persistent with these people, and literally my persistency worked out because right before they closed on Christmas Eve, they sent me a letter saying that, I got into the school. And that was literally like how everything happened.
Wow.
True story.
Wow. Well, listen, did you have any hobbies or interests that even um, you would think led you to become, being in the wellness industry?
I didn't think that I did, but, it's all connected, right?
Hmm.
Our childhood, our growing up, our surroundings, who we're around, our siblings, our parents, our aunts, everything is connected, right? So growing up, I didn't really know what um, powers I had, right? Because of course I'm a twin, we shared everything, right? I didn't have anything of my own too much. But as soon as I started to listen to that voice, that the Holy Spirit, um, then it kind of made sense for me to look back and see the unique gifts that I had individually. So I noticed that my words were very powerful. I noticed that I wanted to be a writer when I was little. I thought that I wanted to do screenplay writing, write movies, short stories, films, right? I didn't care about the actors on TV. I care about who wrote the movie, who wrote the script. And I wanted to be that person to write the script that other people can play out. And I would journal, I would write, I would, have a diary, I would do all of that. And I realized I wrote really good stories. And so I started to read them out loud. And then I realized that I had a powerful voice. So with
Wow.
that, yeah. And so with that, I understood that that was one of my gifts. Another gift that I realized that I had was the gift of healing. I mean, if the Holy Spirit is working through me, then that's a powerful force. I can, certain things that I say changes people's perspectives. I give great advice. This is why now I'm a consultant. And there's so much power, in my hands. Um, in writing, the arts, any artistic person, right, has power in their hands, right? Uh, so I decided to use that as a force of healing. I'm an
Wow.
empath.
Hmm.
Um, what an empath is, for those of you guys don't know, is somebody who feels other people's energy or emotions and tends to take it on as their own, right? Um, it's kind of like an intuitive gift.
Hmm.
So I realized that I had that gift, and I was able to really sense other people's pain, right? That's how I was able to talk to it or speak to it, right?
Hmm.
So um, I tended to turn all of those things into, what's now the Wellness Sanctuary.
Hi, this is Sean Henry from Sean Henry's Becoming. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no listenership. It's everything you need to make in a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I recently, within the last maybe 4 or 5 years, started to really pay attention to how I felt around other people, how my energy was. I think we all experience that, but a lot of times we ignore it, and but unlike you, I don't walk to it. So I think that's a blessing. I don't feel like I am strong enough to take on other people's energy, especially when it's negative. I try to get away from it because I do consume it and I don't think I handle it very well. So I do pay attention to how, people make me feel. If they're having a bad day, then, I wish them well and I walk away or I remove myself so that that energy isn't transferred to me. But I don't um, isolate them or make them feel bad, for whatever they're going through. I offer them a positive and encouraging word and then I move forward. So having someone like you who welcomes, people with disturbing energy and helping them to work through it is definitely a blessing and a talent in itself. So, thank you for that. What does the wellness sanctuary offer? What services do you offer besides healing in your hands? How are you healing people and what aspect of um, healing are you providing?
Yeah. So when you say welcome that energy, to be perfectly honest, I don't. If it was up to me and Tiana, I would be, just like you, like, that's not none of my energy. Let me just go on. you know, or if it is my energy, I'll check myself, But for the most part, if it was up to me, I wouldn't be, wanting to handle it either. However, this is something that I was chosen to do, and these people gravitate toward me. And the people that do gravitate toward me are people who have experienced some sort of trauma in their life. Now, trauma meaning if someone has had a surgery and need to be healed from that, um, i.e., a transplant surgery, cancer, reconstructive surgery, so on and so forth. Secondly, people who are survivors of domestic abuse. Um, I am a massage therapist by licensure, but I also have other qualifications in lymphedema management as well as behavioral therapy. So people can come to me for any of these services. However, it's inevitable, right, that one of these people have one of these three things going on, right? They've had some traumatic experience from emotional abuse. They're a survivor of domestic or physical abuse, or they need help recovering from a surgery. So I intentionally got all of my qualifications and certifications to fulfill the needs of the people who gravitate toward me.
Wow, that's definitely a intentional way of serving um, the need of the your community, basically the people that come to you for services. What what um what certifications did you need to practice in your business?
Yeah. So, as I stated, I have the massage therapy license, but I also am a certified lymphedema therapist.
Hmm.
And I am
And I'm
working.
sorry, lymphedema is.
Yeah, lymphedema is a chronic disease that you can get by several different ways. One particular way that I always use it as an example is breast cancer,
Hmm.
and having a mastectomy. Now, when you have a mastectomy, the purpose is to remove the infected lymph nodes from the axillary or underarm region, right? So, I think we have around 27 or so lymph nodes underneath our arms. Um, Most people have at least 14, right? Infected nodes, right? So if you take those 14, you have just a few lymph nodes left, right? So that means that the lymphatic system is going to not work properly. There's going to be a lymphatic, what we call dysfunction, right? The lymphatic system is the garbage disposal of the body. It works as the heart circulates the blood and the lymph, right, throughout your whole body. However, with the lymph system being a garbage disposal, what it helps us to do is how do we eliminate waste? We pee and we poop, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So if one of the regions where we have lymph nodes are at a discrepancy, it don't work, then what's going to happen is you're going to have some lymphatic overload, right? And that's going to cause some swelling in one of the extremities. If you're a woman that had a mastectomy and remove your right breast, then you're going to have swelling in that right arm. And what I do is I come in and I am that manual lymph node for them, right? I help to treat that and reduce the swelling in whatever region that they have, right? So this is a medical technique and procedure that I was very, very, very lucky to get certified for. Um, I almost went to med school, but I don't think that it was meant for me to do that. It was just meant for me to be a lymphedema therapist, and I highly enjoy it.
Well, good. And then, so lymphedema, so it also occurs, like you said, the extremities, so in the arms and the legs, and Sometimes we see this in middle age to older people. I'm sure it can happen to anybody at any age. But as you were talking, I'm thinking about some people who maybe they have other underlying issues, possibly diabetic or things of that nature, where their legs are extremely swollen. So is that, could that possibly be a client of yours?
Well, diabetes is tricky because it could be from another problem, right?
Sure,
Another
sure.
underlining problem.
Mhm.
Lymphatic disease is pretty straightforward, and there's a few
Okay.
tests that you'd have to take. Lymphedema is very hard to diagnose because a lot of the doctors don't really have that training, right? To really, they see a lot of people with lymphedema, I'm pretty sure, at the hospital, but a lot of doctors don't have that training to, really be able to test it properly. So it
Okay.
could take as long as I don't know, 5 to 10 years for somebody to get properly diagnosed,
Wow.
unless you see someone like a cardiac doctor, or a another type of doctor that deals with um, anything of the organs, right?
Sure.
And you'd have to go to somebody really special. Excuse me, I have allergies.
Mhm. Yeah, listen, let me tell you, not to cut you off, but we're right now we're currently dealing with the COVID-19 coronavirus, and a lot of the symptoms are similar to allergies as well. And I'm telling you, the pollen count has been super, super high. And I can go outside for just a few minutes just to walk the dog and come back in, and I'm sneezing and blowing my nose, and it's like every every symptom that they're saying of this virus that we're dealing with right now. So definitely, take the time that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been burning a lot of sage and
Mhm.
and
Drinking a lot of
incense and
tea.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drinking a lot of ginger tea, definitely, because this, it can drive you insane. But back to lymphedema. So it was saying that it's mostly caused by the removal or damage of your lymph nodes as a part of cancer treatment. So you did mention uh, breast cancer and a woman having a mastectomy, and which would cause her, if she had the right breast removed, it would cause her right arm to swell. So, and how do you treat this? So when someone has been diagnosed, or maybe they feel like uh, they have some of these symptoms, how, when they come to you at the wellness sanctuary, how are they being treated?
Yeah, so there's a specific protocol, and it's a specific technique
Mhm.
called manual lymphatic drainage. Um, and people confuse it with massage and massage therapy. And I want to clarify for anybody who is a massage therapist who's listening, it is not. So it's completely not. I know I have that background as well, but being a lymphedema therapist is a whole complete different degree, basically.
Can
Um,
you can you give a couple of the differences, that the basic public would, because as soon as you said that, I thought about it too. The different massages that I've had, um, after the massage, they would tell me to drink lots of fluid, a lot of water, possibly tea as well, in order to get the drainage going in the lymph nodes. So can you explain, like for me, and the basic public who we're not experts in this field, what some of the differences would be from just a massage to an actual um, treatment that you offer?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is the type of person that you're treating. So, like I said, the lymphedema people are people who have lymphatic disease. This is a disease process that you are actually treating. A massage therapist, by license, cannot treat a disease process per se, right? If it's not, you know, prescribed by a doctor, and there's very, very, very thick lines and red tape around that. However, as a lymphedema therapist, I am qualified and certified to be able to treat this specific process. So that's one different thing. The similarity is that they're both in a category of manual therapy where we are using our hands, right? um, Another difference is that we are not rubbing or massaging, right? The tissues are going in any deep level, right? When we do lymphedema management, what we're doing is we're stretching the tissue. We're doing a specific technique. It's very hard to explain, by verbally, right? We're
Right.
doing a whole subset of a technique and a whole protocol with that. There's also a decongestive therapy part of it where we'll have to get highly trained in bandaging and wrapping,
Oh
um,
wow, it's
compression garment training. Yeah, it's a
a
lot
process.
going on. It's a
Absolutely.
process, and I
Yeah. So
felt like
you
it is
go ahead.
it
I'm
is
sorry.
similar to I'm sorry, it is similar to getting a mini medical degree, basically. So and learning it,
Definitely.
seriously, it was over 200, almost 300 hours worth of
Wow.
training to do this. And no offense to the massage community, because I do have that license as well, but it is not in comparison to massage at all. And I hate
Absolutely. Well,
when I
I can.
see that. I hate when I see that marketing going on and you see, oh, lymphatic massage, or, let me do
Right.
this, lymphatic drainage massage therapy. And people just make up all of these misconstrued terms just so they can profit off of it. And it's basically illegal. And I
Wow.
just, I'm just being transparent, especially if you're not trained and qualified. I mean, never, ever, never, ever, ever go to a spa that offers lymphatic massage. Always,
What term should, if someone is seeking that, and they're, because we're all about educating our listeners. So if someone is seeking that type of treatment, what verbiage should they be looking for? If they're definitely not in the Atlanta area, and can't come to the wellness sanctuary, what verbiage should they be looking for if they're looking for that type of procedure?
yes. So most people who are not that qualified would market this as, a massage. That's one red flag. Two, they would market it as some sort of detox, right? And that's a red flag too. It is a detoxification treatment, however, is meant for people with that disease process. Um, and you can do it regularly. However, again, you have to be qualified. So the credentials you'd have to look for are CLT, which is Certified Lymphedema Therapist, CDT, which is Certified Decongestive Therapist. And if they have a CLT-LANA, that is somebody who is actually board certified. And they are really picky on that board is really picky on who they allow to have that certification. So um, it is it's just like I said, going to medical school. I had to go through a process. There's a whole application. There's a whole thing that happens. So I just put it out there on the table for everybody because I get these questions on a daily basis, and I also get like questions from random other massage therapists who want to do this. And, they ask me how to teach them how to do it. That's not possible either, because a person who is teaching you how to do this treatment has to be somebody at a school. You can't learn this from, a random other person. They
So they can't be a Instagram guru and a coach saying, okay, I can teach you this particular procedure. Buy my
right,
course.
and that's all over social media.
Mm-hmm.
Make this much money doing this, and I can't tell you, I'm at the grocery store and I'm getting, not in the grocery store or wherever, and I'm getting all these flyers from people. Oh, I can help you make this much money for doing some young lady gave me a flyer because she was doing surgery.
What?
What? Yeah, I promise you. Plastic surgery is a huge thing nowadays. And so everybody wants a little piece of the pie. And
Wow.
this young lady, I didn't ask her age, but I mean, I would peg her to be somewhere like 22 or something. I don't know. So basically, unless you Doogie Howser, you're not old enough to be a plastic surgeon.
Right.
So how are you doing this? And
Right.
I just looked at that flyer. I didn't even take it from her hand. I just told her no. And I
Right.
said sternly, no. You shouldn't even be telling people that you're doing this.
Wow.
Where are you
Well,
doing it at? Is it that
listen,
serious?
you know what? I have realized there is a market for everyone. There is a customer for everyone, unfortunately. And people are just really misrepresenting themselves and misleading other people. But there are people who want a lot for nothing. And those are the people that they are targeting. And unfortunately, you were, or fortunately, you were smart enough to question this. But there are people who are not, and they're like, oh, okay, I can get this, this fat, what it's fat transfer for $500. Okay, sure, I'll do that, when it's probably a heck of a lot more than that. Or I can get this liposuction, this fat removal from my stomach, uh, for $1,000 or something, when that's probably a 12 or $5,000 bill. And but they got it from the girl at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, so she must be healthy, and this must be her, she must be certified and qualified to do this. So wow. So again, that's what this platform is for, to inform people of all kinds of things. And yeah, that's definitely scary. Wow, that is definitely scary. Well,
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. And, I'm pretty sure you've seen it too. You just talked about, all of this other misrepresentation that's going on in business too.
mhm.
It's disheartening when I see all of that. And just because someone has a large following, people think that they are, this savior, right? Or this
Sure,
saint.
sure, sure.
When the bank says no, Airbnb hosting without owning the property. Read how one woman took a bank's rejection for financing and turned it into a lucrative Airbnb business without owning the property. Sean shares her step-by-step process from picking her niche market to furniture purchases, all which led her to achieving superhost status in her first 30 days of hosting with Airbnb. Learn how she made almost $20,000 in less than 7 months while still maintaining her full-time job. New hosts are often unsure of what they need to do, making Airbnb harder than it has to be. Follow her story of determination and perseverance and learn how you can implement her practices in any of your entrepreneurial endeavors. Go to www.seanhenry.com. That's www.seanhenry.com to order your copy of When the Bank Says No, Airbnb hosting without owning the property.
This may be around the time that this happens anyway, because the weather is starting to warm up and people want to get summertime ready at the last minute. But I'm really starting to see a lot of the weight loss um, serums and juices and pills and things of that nature. So all over Instagram as well. So a lot of that, like you said, is gimmicky. I feel like some of those things may work for some people, because to me it has to work for somebody, in order for it to be somewhat successful. But I think that, just like you said, a lot of it is great marketing.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's good if you just, are a good marketing person, and know social media, that's fine, but don't use that to manipulate people, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's just what's happening now in business. Business is not something that people can just jump on and become instant millionaires, right? There's only one in, so many different odds of people that are instant millionaires like that, right? And it's just unfortunate and unfair that you see all of these people broadcasting this, on social media. How much money did I make, this month? Look at my profits and look at and it's like, okay, well, what all did you spend all of this money on?
Absolutely. So
Is it
listen,
real?
save that, because that is a question that I ask every single guest. So that's towards the end. So definitely save that part. And you have a point. I mean, but you've been in the wellness industry for the past 16 years. So when you have longevity like that, then you have to have been doing something right. It wasn't a fly by night, um, let me get on this get rich quick scheme, or let me sell this product while it's hot. You, like you said, it was real business. It was real sweat equity. It was real, peaks and valleys, and education in order for you to have this type of longevity. Would you say I was correct in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what my first book was about. It's called, Creatively Successful, which is, the, offset of, my consulting business.
Mhm.
So it's called Creatively Successful, but the title is how, it is 11 ways or 11 strategies on how to gain authentic longevity in business, right? And what I mean by authentic longevity is these are strategies that I personally use to lay the foundational groundwork, of how I was going to approach business, and who my business was for, right? So a lot of people are in business nowadays for themselves and for how much money they can make, or, you know, what material they want out of it, or who they can beat, or competitiveness, right? Everybody's like really good copycats right now, right?
Absolutely. And
Really good
copying the wrong
copycats.
cat.
Yeah, so somebody out there looking at my website right now, seeing how they gonna recreate it. I have some psychopath out there that decided that
Uh-oh.
she wanted to use the Wellness Sanctuary's name, but she's a fraudulent doctor. So she's running around saying that she's a medical doctor, come to the Wellness Sanctuary, and she got all these credentials. And no, she has absolutely none of them. But she decided that she wanted to join all of these organizations under my business name and just, literally just take it,
Wow.
and utilize it as her own. Now, that is very threatening to the character of my company, right?
Mhm.
Because if she does something of malpractice and they are looking for the wellness sanctuary, guess who they're going to come to first?
Right. So how do you
You know?
protect, as a business owner? How do you protect yourself uh, from something like that? And what are you doing now that your business essentially has been a victim of identity fraud or identity
Yeah.
theft, rather?
Learn how to whoop ass.
So when you're providing a whole other meeting of laying hands on people, Tiana.
Literally, catch these hands, literally, okay?
Okay. Are there any other ways that you would suggest that would keep you out of jail? So that you can continue to heal people and not hurt them.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I said my first statement, I mean standing your ground, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And my business is a part of me. And I think this will be another podcast, but I was a victim of harassment, and racism in another building that I had occupied for my company. And I spent 3.5 years in this building, but I was hated because I was Black. And they did
Mm,
not want me there at all. So they tortured me and literally forced me to move. Um, and 3.5 years of that literally made me look into things in a whole different perspective. Here I am trying to stand up for my company, for my clients, for, my right to stay there. Overall, not even understanding that the person that I really needed to protect was me.
mm,
I am the wellness sanctuary. I'm the owner. God gave me this business as a gift. It is my duty to protect it. However, how can I protect it if I am not protecting me? Protecting
absolutely.
and covering me is protecting it. So I was thinking about it the opposite way around. Um, and so that situation really made me look at business in a whole different perspective. And as soon as I moved, and got had to get situated, because racial trauma is a thing. It is.
Definitely.
Um, I mean, I don't know if you ever researched that, but it's a whole thing because I experienced it. Yeah, so that helps me really understand, how to stand my ground and who I was really fighting for, right?
True.
So, um, I am very tiny and very short. I'm a little person, okay?
Mm-hmm.
However, I have so much power in my spirit, right? I consider myself to have thick skin. Going through a situation like that made my skin even thicker. So when I
Mm,
tell you whooping ass means standing your ground and protecting your territory, i.e., yourself, your spirits, your mind, that's what self-care is, right? And self-love, right? And then honoring those things and really understanding that, right? um that's that's important. That's power, and that's how you keep your business from goofy people like who just want to like take what you have that didn't earn it.
absolutely. Are there any like a trademarking or copyright or anything that you can do or suggest people do in cases such as yours?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm all for trademarks. I had trademarks before trademarks were a thing on social media land, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
And I really understood that from its, from my experiences. But yeah, trademarks are very important. I would highly recommend people to seek legal advice, especially when you're dealing with contracts, because hiring people, working with people, partnering with people, I mean, people can try to get in over on you, right? And manipulate you and, benefit off of what you have, right? And people are really good talkers now, right? So you need to get some legal advice to see what you can do to protect your company and yourself. What are the proper steps? There's so many people out there who don't even know these things. Incorporating your company, that's important. I mean, you can be a sole proprietor and don't have an incorporation and everything, but make sure you're paying your taxes. I
Of
mean, there's
course.
people out here who just call themselves a business owner or entrepreneur and don't even have these things, right?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
know several people. Oh, I didn't get a chance to incorporate yet. Oh, I didn't do. Well,
Yeah.
you're not a business owner if
Absolutely.
you
That's
don't
the
have.
easiest thing to do. And then honestly, in my reading, it they really don't even deem you a business until you get a business bank account. Like your business hasn't even started until you get a business bank account. So I mean, it's a bunch of steps, just like you said, and that goes to show who's in this to actually be a real business or who's just in it for right now and seeing what they can get out of it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just chilling, during this quarantine. I mean, I'm looking at, I don't really actually look at other people's accounts like that. To be perfectly honest, this me being in business as an entrepreneur um was completely God ordained. So everything that I do based off of the feeling that I get, my intuition, and if it serves the clients that come to me, right?
Yeah.
So everything is structured in intention. Right now, I'm working on a behavioral therapy certification because that's important too. I do have several degrees. I have a master's degree and all of these other things, but I'm now utilizing, all of the elements that I have, right? To better come out of this quarantine and better serve my clients, right?
But let me ask you, since we're talking about the quarantine, so we're dealing with the COVID-19 coronavirus situation right now. People have had to essentially not go to work. Some people are able to work from home. There are essential workers such as the grocery stores are open. So basically, if you're providing food or healthcare, they've allowed you to work. There's other businesses that are open. The post office is open. So you are a solopreneur, but you hire seasonally. So with the this pandemic that we're having right now, how has that affected your business and the way that your business has operated?
Yeah. So I finally remember what I was going to say, which is a good piggyback to this question. Um, I don't look at other people's websites or business or anything. Everything that is done is in intention, right? So I don't know what anybody else is doing. However, uh, this quarantine has gave me a lot of room to expand, not only expand, but learn to update and upgrade myself, right? Um, I consider myself like a auntie in business, right? Whereas I'm not old. I'm older, but I'm not old, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been in business as an entrepreneur in my field of practice, learning, growing, and doing for almost 20 years, right?
Wow.
And
Mm.
so I consider myself like an auntie in business. So I realized that I still did a lot of things that were pretty outdated, right? I'm not on a lot of social media platforms because I just don't have that much interest. It took me a while to get a Facebook page. I didn't want it. My business comes from word of mouth, and I have specific clientele that I see, and I was just like protesting no. But once I got on Facebook and Instagram, I learned that there was, some opportunity there. So, with that said, during this quarantine, I started to embrace more of the online platforms. I started to embrace the internet a lot more, right? I started leveraging to do different things, upgrading my education. Even though I have all of these other degrees, I just felt like it's time for an upgrade, right? I can't keep doing things the old way, right? That's not how you grow. That's not how you gather a new clientele, or, you know, just jump to the new, right? So I started to upgrade and update myself. And so I think in March, I launched the Wellness Sanctuary online. So I'd never done my business online before, because we're more of a touch based business. But now that I'm getting more clients who have a need, who are in some sort of a mental health crisis, and I do have that background, I can serve them more virtually. So I decided to do stress management, and upgrade myself in that arena. So we're doing a lot of amazing things through the Wellness Sanctuary online. I mean, I have a meditation instructor, I have a naturopathic physician, and of course, there's me, just updating things, right? So that's what this quarantine has just helped me to do.
Mm. Yeah, it definitely has given people opportunity, like you said, to work on themselves and to expand. So that's great. And then what that's gonna do is um help propel your business once, like I say, the world opens back up. So good for you. Um, so okay, so you've been a full-time entrepreneur for the past 20 years, or how long have you been a full-time entrepreneur?
No, it's been almost, I mean, not
Okay,
quite
sure,
20
not
years.
quite.
I said
Yeah,
nearly
19 plus,
20 years.
19 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 19 plus years, right? So that's a long time. I mean, and that's a great accomplishment. I just started my full time entrepreneurial journey for the second time, and I plan on. So I'm probably 3 weeks in, I think, officially. So congratulations, and you definitely have a lot to learn. I'll be picking up your book, 11 Strategies to Gain Authentic Longevity in Business, for sure, because I'm learning as I go at this point too, in my area of expertise. Um, so what? Okay, so I know that you are new to social media, and that's not something that you're interested in. But you, I'm sure you've heard of people being job shamed. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs who basically promote being an entrepreneur, having your own. Um, and what's your opinion on job shaming?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with people who choose to do business full time, nor do I have a problem with people who choose to work a 9 to 5 full time, or, do both. I highly suggest people to work a full time job before they start trying to be an entrepreneur, right? Why? Is because you get the experience of how to work under people, and you get to really understand what the difference is between being a manager and a leader is.
Absolutely.
And secondly, you get to learn about um, health insurance. You get, if you got a 9 to 5, you got a company that's taking care of all of that. If you got a good 9 to 5, you got a 401k. You got some things that'll give you some backing, right? And then also that'll help you gain some financials while you're trying to work on your business on the side, right? There's an article that I read some years ago I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, and it was entitled "Older Entrepreneurs Do Business Better." And the article was based off of entrepreneurs that are over the age of 35. I don't know why they use that age, but well, I mean, technically 35 is middle age, I
Oh my
guess,
God.
right? It's still young, but it's you know, to them they use that age, right? So they use entrepreneurs over the age of 35 do business better. So I read that article and they made a lot of sense, right? They were saying the things that I was just saying, like how the older adults who have worked a job or have some basis of life experience, if you're married, if you have children, if you've had some sort of life circumstance, you've had it by then, right? And so they were saying all of these things, and they were saying how, especially if you've worked a 9 to 5, and if you started working when you were 15 or 16 years old, I mean, you're 35 or 40 or whatever it is, right? You got 15 or 20 years experience of work under your belt. With that, you can take this experience and turn that into some reputable things for whatever business you decide to go in, right? Now you got some technical skills. Let's say you were, working in engineering for 15 years and you decide, I want to have my own tech firm. You got all of this experience in order to do that, right? And so I really agreed with that article. And so I don't shame anybody for having a 9 to 5, because it's giving you some experience. Secondly, it's your prerogative, because being a business owner is not for everybody. Not everybody wants to go into entrepreneurship. There's some people who really love what they do in corporate America, or working at Publix, or a park ranger or whatever it is, right? Just some people who just really love what they do. And that's okay.
What are the most rewarding parts of entrepreneurship for you?
Um, the most rewarding part of entrepreneurship is uh, the fact that I get to um, directly be with the client before before I treat them, and then be able to see the progress after. I mean, it's all about my client. I mean, my business is completely client and customer base, and I would have it no other way, right? I don't do this for me. I do it for them. It is about me because I run it and I am the wellness sanctuary. But ultimately, people are there for me. I've tried to hire so many different people to give myself a vacation. My
So this
clients
is
would
a challenge.
literally, yes, my clients would literally text me and say, okay, well, tell me when you come back, because that's when I'll make my next appointment. I am not going to nobody else but you. Yeah, so my clients are a little spoiled, which is a good thing when you're a business owner. That means that you have returning clients. And after this, I would have my clients all come back to me for sure. But yeah, I think that's one of the most rewarding things, to just
That's a
be able to
blessing in
be,
itself.
yeah, to be able to be personable with my clients, to be my clients, some of my clients have become my friends. Um, and of course, after they're my friend, they can't be my client no more. But still, I've made some really good friends out of my company. My clients are, we are like a family connection, right? So
Wait,
I
that's
help them.
interesting. How once they become your friend, they cannot be your client any longer? Why is that?
Yeah, because that's a boundary issue and it goes with our code of ethics.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it just kind of violates that. Um,
Okay.
they can be your friend. Don't get me wrong, be my friend because I was, you know, going to I'm at birthday parties, I'm at baby showers, I'm at weddings, and I'm at funerals. Okay, like
Hmm.
my clients reach out to me when they're in a hospital. They reach out to me when they're lonely. They reach out when they're depressed.
Well, those are
You
all
know,
part of your services too. So.
all part of my services, but I don't, I don't charge for all of them being
Hmm.
if they're like a reoccurring client. If you're a new client, of course, cha-ching.
Sure.
But if you,
Sure.
uh, but some of my clients become my friends in that way where they know they can reach out to me, or vice versa. I can reach out to some of them. Hey, do you guys know of any good, one of my clients sent me a good accountant. Okay, well, I'm looking to switch accountants. Thank you for that. um so there's a level, right, and there's a boundary that you have to keep within. But if you're like, you know too close knit, or whatever, that's just kind of going beyond ethics, or the boundaries.
Okay. We touched on this earlier, so I definitely wanted to get back to this because you sounded very passionate about it. But what's your take on the growth report narrative? So basically, when people are talking about how much money they're making and showing how much money they're making, and they're not really speaking about the money that they have to spend in order to be successful in their business.
Yeah, that's excuse me. That's pretty annoying. I am so sick of seeing people tell other people how much they make.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially around this time right now in this
Mhm.
pandemic.
Mhm.
There's so many people who have lost things, and even their lives, right? Why in the hell are you on social media saying that you made, you know, $36,000 by selling some damn, templates, online? Oh, I still have fidget spinners. They're $1 each. If I sell a million of these, and I'm a millionaire. Shut up.
What other actions that business owners you feel that they can do to get past the stagnant phase and continue to grow their business?
One of my things that I do in creatively successful with the consulting part of it is that excuse me, that I help people. I literally focus on clients who are older in business, because I feel like that cohort has kind of been left out, and because everybody is about the young adult in business, and I just started a business, congratulations. That's completely fine, and I love that. I love you for starting up. I love you for being a young entrepreneur. But I typically, majority of the people that I use as vendors, even in some of the events that I do, are older adults. And when I say older, I mean like 50 something years old, right? um, because I feel like that cohort has been left out. These are the people who've been doing what they've been doing for longer than I have, right? And these are my mentors, per se. I'm not going to select a mentor that hasn't been in business for longer than I have. I'm just not. Uh, if you have a good skill set that I don't know and you just started up in your company, okay, there's something that you can learn from everybody. However, I'm not going to select a mentor if you've not done what you've been doing for longer than me. Okay. So, with that, I tend to focus on people who have been doing things the same way for a long time and need to pivot, or need to do an additional thing, or learn additional skill set, right? Just, you have a lot of older adults who just know Facebook, right? And they're not really well versed in any other social media platforms. heck, I'm not even that well versed. I'm on Instagram and I try and I've learned a lot of things, and I'm actually okay with social media now. Before I wasn't, but now I am. I'm pretty okay with Instagram. We have a rapport now. But I focus on clients who, want to pivot or do something different, right? And because a lot of older adults don't get that much recognition, right? You go to any of the mom and pop shops, out here, these old school restaurants, or, even the gas station people, they've been in business for a long time, right? And these people do not get that much recognition, right? It's all about the new entrepreneur, the social media push, and I'm a marketing strategist or business coach, or everybody's the same doggone thing, right? And I focus on those type of people. So um, the burnout is inevitable, especially when you've been doing something for a while. Um, and most people get burned out because either they're not fulfilled in what they're doing or they haven't tried something new.
Hmm.
So these are the two factors. Because if you love what you do, not that many things can come into your life or in your business that will be able to stop you. I shared with you earlier about the harassment that I had, the racism that I endured, um, business sabotage, just an ongoing list of stuff that people just try to throw at me, right? Um, and I'm still here. It's
Hmm.
still kicking and screaming, and healing people and doing what I do and adding to, right? Pivoting and growing, and doing different things, in my company. So that's what I focus on when I do my business consulting. I tend to, focus on those people who just need to do something different, learn something new, avoid the burnout per se, but it's not avoidable. It's inevitable. Something is going to burn you out, but that just means that you need to try something new, or you need to figure out what your why is. Go back to your why. Why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for?
Wow. So your consulting company is creatively successful, and they can book an appointment with you or consult with you at creativelysuccessful.com. And your niche market is veteran business owners. So what would you consider a veteran in business? So you said, what do you consider a veteran in business?
Um, I would consider a veteran in business for somebody who's been in business for over at least 10 years.
Hmm.
Um, don't get me wrong, you can learn a lot in less than 10 years, and you can be very highly qualified and educated on a specific thing, and in less than 10 years. But once you've been doing the practice of business, for that long, I just consider you to be, somebody who's been in, who's on the track to longevity. Like me, I'm
Hmm.
on a track to longevity, right? Because there's other people who've been doing this for longer than me.
What's the impact that you are hoping to achieve? You said that you are on a path for longevity right now. So what's that impact?
That's a really good question, and I don't think I would know until I get there.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a teacher. That's what I've been told. And also what my degrees tell me that I am. I'm a teacher. I give good advice. People come to me to assist them with something that they don't really get or understand. I'm a perspective changer. So that's another thing that I do focus on with with creatively successful, is change management, and understanding the levels of change, and like I said, how to pivot and how to grow properly into a thing. Now, I don't only deal with older entrepreneurs or business owners. That's one of my market, or people that I market to. Um, or most of the people who come to me are older adults. Like I have a client that's 70 years old. She's been in business for 50 years per se. And I helped her create new things for her company in Chicago. So those are the people that gravitate toward me. That's one of my client base. But I also work with small businesses who are startups. But one of the other types of clients that I work with are organizations that need to understand how to change. So I do have another degree that it's in organizational development. And, I've gotten, lots of fun experiences with that. So that's another market that I work with.
Are entrepreneurs born or made?
Definitely, entrepreneurs are born, because it doesn't matter if you yourself physically have the desire to go into business. If you have that specific skill set, then that's what you are, right? That's innate. That's something that you're born with, that specific thing. I know a person that he's just a really good salesperson. Like, this man could just talk to you about his left shoe and you want to buy it. Yeah. And he said in such a way where it's like, where can I get that left shoe? And it's just, he's a natural at it, right? And it was just something that he was just born with, that gift. So yeah, entrepreneurs are born.
In our last segment, Growing Our Tribe, we shout out another small Black-owned business, as well as a book that has helped us in growing our minds, which in turn grows our business.
One is Midtown Collective, which is a small Black-owned business where they have event space. And I've hosted one of my events there, and I've actually been to other events at that space. It's a small loft-looking studio, but the owners are really super nice and very accommodative. And I always refer people to them who need an event space. So Midtown Collective.
A book that has helped you grow your business or helped you grow.
My favorite book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Mm-hmm. And my second favorite book is The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. These are two books that really helped me see where I was on my journey in entrepreneurship. And every time I get stuck or feel like I'm about to have burnout, or feel like I'm at the end of my rope, I always reach for that book, and I always go to specific chapters that I remember where that character was in that book, and I just couldn't literally see myself in it, and it always motivates me to move forward.
Oh, wow.
This is another tagline with Creatively Successful. And I quote, what an alchemist is: somebody that can turn something seemingly of little substance into something of great value, which is a unique gift to have, and that's why I say entrepreneurs are born.
Mm.
Because entrepreneurs have this specific alchemistic characteristic, where, like my friend, he can sell you his left shoe.
Mm-hmm.
That is very unique. So we go off of that platform. And the tagline with Creatively Successful is be alchemistic.
I like that. Definitely. Okay. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you, Tiana, for joining us on this episode of Sean Henry's Becoming. So tell our listeners where we can find you and support your business.
Yeah, so you can go to social media, Instagram, and follow Creatively Successful at Creatively Successful. You can go and follow the Wellness Sanctuary at the Wellness Sanctuary Inc. on Facebook as well as Instagram.
This has been another episode of Sean Henry's Becoming with me, your host, Sean Henry. If you've gotten anything out of this conversation, please let us know in the comments or by going to SeanHenry.com and leave a review. We appreciate the time you took to listen and value your feedback. We are always looking for entrepreneurs to spotlight. If you would like us to spotlight you and your business, go to SeanHenry.com and click the link Be My Guest. Remember to tune in every Saturday as we continue to spotlight entrepreneurs during their bumpy but fulfilling ride to success on their own terms.